Today's wellness news you can use is brought to you by COGNURO. And welcome back to the show. Let's talk brains.
Okay, we can definitely talk brains.
Brains are important. So the way it's been explained to me is your brain is the hardware. Mm-hmm. And what you teach yourself to do with your brain is the software. Mm-hmm. And that is kind of incredible, and that we are learning more and more about how you can kind of program yourself for success.
Right. So they call it neuroplasticity, and it basically is a relatively new phenomenon that they're able to prove. But what it is where you are able to make connections in the brain and develop new pathways, essentially healing. So you have one pathway, you can have positive neuroplasticity, you can have negative neuroplasticity. So you start creating these pathways in the brain, and it leads to, you might have chronic pain in your ankles or your feet, and then it's been 10 years and your body has healed, but you still have that pain, right? And it's actually pain that is stemming from your brain. And the way you could understand that is when people who have had diabetes and they lose their leg and they have like phantom limb pain.
Sure.
Your brain is running the show. And so when you understand that neuroplasticity is possible and those neurons can find a way to reconnect both positively and negatively, and if you've been running a negative path with like chronic pain or moving in a direction with losing memory and you're having problems maybe with kids in school, all of these things can be addressed through functional neurology and turned around through neuroplasticity and the fact that it exists. It's been proven, and they know how to start getting your brain moving in another direction through the different exercises and the different treatments that they do there at all of the functional neurology clinics. But this is one you can do at home. This is COGNURO Tap app. It's one you can download. And this is something that will completely help you reverse the signs of Alzheimer's, aging, memory loss, ADD, ADHD. It is rhythm and timing. It will help people with their sports, with their athletics, their timing in their golf swing. When you understand your brain runs the show and you understand that functional neurologists, a huge component to what they've used to help their people get better is a metronome. What Dr. Hatch has figured out is that it's not just using the metronome, it's making sure you're actually hitting it on time. So it gives you a red or a green. And that's the key to the healing. And he's got all of these amazing case studies that prove it. So how would you feel about that?
Well, if I could get faster
At
hockey. So I start with a new team on Sunday, but I need to get my brain working because I've been playing the game longer than anyone else in this league, or maybe on the planet. And I just need to do a little software update, but I'll do that.
So Trip, we'll talk during this segment. I'll tell you all about how it will help you with athleticism. But here is Dr. Hatch to tell you all about how it helps with seniors and kiddos, and all about how Tap App turned things around for both of them. Check it out.
TALK365TV's Wellness Minute is brought to you by COGNURO with wellness team expert Dr. John Hatch.
So some of you might say, well, this sounds all great for others, but does it really work? Well, here's a couple testimonials that changed the game, and I saw it firsthand. I had a patient who was struggling with Alzheimer's, stage 3, and losing that memory capability at the highest level. And we tapped and tried to find how that brain would time it correctly. No results. And we went through about 13 different speeds. And when we found the correct speed, which happened to be about 47, made all the difference in the world. And all of that brain came back, and within 3 months, they could recall any memory, they could experience everything, working memory was back, every system was working. You just got to be willing to find your speed and do the exercises. People always ask, how long do you do this for? I personally do it a minute per day, 1 minute per day. I have done it for up to 3 hours on one given day. Why? Because there's no harm in doing more. You can keep activating this brain as many and as much as you want, but consistency is the key. It's better to do a minute a day than 3 hours in one day and never touch it again. The brain likes consistency. It hardwires with consistency. So what's been so hard is how to narrow down a testimonial that's so precise with the younger kids, because the thousands of kids that I've worked on, everyone has a specific speed. And if you can get them to do the Tap app at their speed, their whole school experience changes. their confidence changes, their reading ability changes, their memory, their task-oriented, their focus. Yes, all those kids with ADD, ADHD, what do they have? They have frontal temporal lobe cerebellum problems. Now, is it specific to the timing? No, but does the timing repair it? Yes. So as we time and practice, finding the right speed for a child makes all the difference in the world. I actually had an amazing child that was struggling so far in school. He had a really bad IEP. He was a 3rd grader, couldn't read at his level, and his processing speed was actually 75. So no teacher or student could talk at the speed at which he processed. So everything seemed slow and mundane, and he just never focused. So he started training his brain at that specific speed over and over and over again. And within 3 weeks, the teacher was like, what just happened? What have you guys been doing? And 3 months later, they were like, he's one of our best kids. He helps everybody. If you can get the right speed for your child, you change the environment not only for them, but the teacher and the other students, because everyone functions at a different speed and everyone has strengths, and we need to help each other. So let's help our kids. There shouldn't be a kid that doesn't find their speed and train at their speed. So when we were looking at this kid with the assessment that you're going to do your right hand, your left hand, and both hands. Right hand or left hand at 50 beats, and then the alternating at 60. He couldn't process any of those. They were so slow. He was early, late. It was getting scores of 25, 30% accuracy when we need 80 and 90. We sped him up all the way to 75, and that brain was like, just rock solid. Bumped it up to 85, and it went back down to 60, because the right speed matters. It's not just the faster you go, the better you get. So what we did was we trained him at 75. And when you train at 75 and the brain wires at that, then it can adjust to any other speed. So what we kept doing is retesting every week what his 50 and 60 results were. And they went from 25 30s to 60 70s to 90s. 95 at the 50 and 60. Does that mean we changed the speed? No! We trained him at his speed that his brain processed at, and it made all the difference for him and all of his family.